It has been 3 months, 3 bottles. I'm on to my 4th bottle, so it's about a bottle a month. And I do have my 3rd bottle, really was like a month and a half. I will explain that later, how I got to stretch this a little further, but still be very effective. And we're gonna find out if the Ordinary Growth Factors 15% solution really does repair visible skin damage. Does it really minimize the look of fine lines and wrinkles? And does it really prevent the look of aging skin? But also, more importantly, does it tighten your jawline and the area underneath your chin, on your neck, like it says it will? Let's find out. I finished all 3 bottles. I'm on the 4th bottle. And it basically took me a month for each bottle, 1 and 2, until I taught myself how to use the 3rd bottle a little bit more sparingly. And I think that's something that I really try to do with my skincare, is make sure that I'm using it sparingly but efficiently. I don't want to use it in an ineffective way if I'm using too low of an amount. So I finally figured out exactly how I want to use it, so I can make a bottle last about a month and a half. And that's how long the 3rd bottle lasted. And that's why the video took me a little bit longer than the 10 to 12 weeks that I initially planned. So I ended up doing about 3.5 months instead for the final bottle. And the 4th one I just started, and I'm going to apply my morning skincare right now. And this is partially how I've been doing it a bit more effectively. For the AM, I've been applying just the specific areas, but a little less than the PM, because in the AM I know I'm going to be sweating and I'm going to be out in the sun, and I think my skin is, obviously I'm not going to sleep, and that's when we're repairing our skin, is during our sleep. So I want to have the most effective skincare in the PM. In the AM, I just do it a little bit more lightly into those specific areas that I'm really concentrating on, which my forehead, right between my brows, and underneath my eyes up to the edge where I'm smiling, and right at my mouth area, these smile lines. I think you're getting a hint here that I have some smiling lines happening and creping right underneath my mouth. I do a little bit on the sides here, because when I smile I notice that this part of my skin was starting to look a little dull, and I just do a couple drops for my neck right here where I have tech neck. Yay, awesome. And then I follow up toward the jawline. So this is my AM version, and it absorbs so quickly. It's already gone from my skin. There's no tackiness or stickiness. It's so liquid. I know that sounds silly, but even though it's a serum, it doesn't have that serum, slow moving kind of effect to it. I think I said before when I was first trying it, if water is 0, this is 0. It is just like water, and it absorbs immediately into the skin. And I'm just going to follow up with my other skincare, very simple skincare throughout the day before I put on any of my sunscreens. I'm using this Natural Factors Plus Beta Glucan from The Ordinary. This is such a great moisturizer for someone who has oily or acne prone skin. And for my eye cream, I'm using the Biossance Squalane Marine Algae Eye Cream. It sinks right into the skin, and the growth factors are already in there, so everything just lays on top. I also am using a little bit of my benzoyl peroxide from Malesia. If I don't use it, I have breakouts. So I tried for the first month to 2 months to avoid using it at all, and I got several breakouts. So I really do need to continue to use this. And any time where I feel like anything is really breaking out a lot, I'm just avoiding that area. And I'm going to talk briefly about the products that you need to avoid when using the growth factors. This was one of them that wasn't, they just kind of had a question mark. I asked them, and I mentioned that in my first video when I started using the product, how to use it. I've never used anything like this before. There's several different products that you don't want to use at the same time, and the first video is going to really cover that. If you watch it, you'll have the thorough information I go through, but one of them is the benzoyl peroxide products for acne. You want to kind of avoid mixing them. So this is how I'm doing it, where I don't mix it. They don't touch the same area. It might overlap a little, but I hadn't noticed any sensitivity, so there was no problem. In the evening, I do my skincare quite similar, where I'm adding the drops, maybe a tiny bit more in those certain areas that I'm thinking more about, that I want to have the benefits of this product. And then I'm using the Biossance Squalane Marine Algae Eye Cream. I'm also using the Ordinary Natural Moisturizing Factors plus beta glucan to cover over the product, and it just seals it right in really nicely. And the other product that I've really been loving in the evening is the Biossance Squalane and Ecotone Overnight Rescue. I love putting that on my neck area. It really is helping a bit with keeping everything moisturized and calming my skin because I have redness and sensitivity issues. And that's really important to know that so far the growth factors has not irritated my skin. And with skin sensitivity, that is really major. So some of the products that you really want to avoid at the same time are any active acids. Anything with salicylic acid, which is a BHA, and anything with glycolic acid, which is an AHA. You definitely don't want to use these at the same time and have them on your skin at the same time. You can still use these, but if you're using these in the evening, just don't use the growth factors on that evening. Maybe use it in the morning instead. Even though this is something you want to use twice a day, and it's most effective if you're using this twice a day and very consistent, there are times if you have dull skin or breakout prone skin, you would want to use some of your active acid products, and I'll list them on the screen which ones you're not meant to be using at the same time. So just use them maybe once or twice a week or every other week, and avoid it at the same time as using the growth factors. Also make sure that you're not using any vitamin C moisturizers or serums at the same time. Those acids are going to not mix very well together. The one ingredient that is encouraged to use at the same time as the growth factors is any type of vitamin A derivative product. This one is a retin-A, it's a tretinoin. You can use your retinols, your retinoids at the same time. And it doesn't have to be a prescription product. It can be any of the products that have those vitamin A's in them. And what you would do is use the growth factor first, let that absorb into your skin. If you have the prescription, you know that there's a 15-minute or so wait that you need to make sure your skin is dry. But any products that are not prescription strength, you can add on top. Just follow the directions. But they're included as something that's supportive of each other. I haven't been using my tretinoin for a super long time because it's a whole thing, and I've been using several products and it really interferes with so many things like benzoyl peroxide. But I'm going to be starting this again, and I'm really happy that I have the growth factors to use them together because I think it's going to be a major booster. And that is something I really like. If you notice in a lot of my videos, I talk about products that are duos together or work really well together, because some things are just on their own, they're okay, and then you add something as an ingredient to it to benefit your skin even more. And I found that from the information from researching, these two are going to be a fantastic duo together. But after I do a trial of my own experience, I'll be updating you if I really think they belong together, and if there is a good result. Maybe I'll do a side-by-side, like one side of my face with the growth factors and one side without. That might be a good idea. So I'm just applying my morning sunscreen and makeup just so you can see how smoothly it goes on with using the growth factors, how it doesn't interfere with any of the application, and it's pretty easy to work with. I've had very good results. One thing I noticed was about 2 months in, I was using a lot less of my cover up and concealer under my eyes. You saw me using this a little bit. It's like a serum from Rare Beauty. I love it to brighten up the under eye area. I use much less now, and it's not like I was using a lot before, but there's a little bit of a difference. And the same with my sun creams or sunscreens. These are 50 SPF and they're pretty thick, but they're going on a little bit more smoothly, and I love that. So I'm using a lot less of those products for coverage and for sun care, and the texture and application is just much more smooth and quicker. So I'm definitely using a lot less product for coverage. It's good that I'm using a little bit less product and things are smoothing onto the skin a little bit nicer and also absorbing really well. I noticed with my moisturizer and the Malaysia, I'm using just a tiny bit less because the texture of my skin seems a little bit improved, a little bit more smooth. And I noticed that at about 2 months in. And I'm just going to look on the Ordinary website at their testing results, what you should expect for a timeline. And when I did my first video, I did the product update about a week in and how I was seeing results, because they said that you should have visible wrinkle repair within 1 week. Please watch the first video so you can see the thorough information on the product and what happened. I have the 2-week update, the visible skin regeneration, helps repair visible skin damage in 2 weeks. I didn't really notice anything significant in 2 weeks. It was about the same as the 1 week mark. What I did find as a difference at the 2 week mark was something that really surprised me, and it was my eyebrows. Because the product kind of drips down into the brow area, I noticed my eyebrows started to grow in a little bit more. I've already been using the Ordinary Multi-Peptide Lash and Brow Serum, and I use this now every single day, and I have been for a while because my brows and my lashes got really sparse and I had trouble getting them to really grow in. And I pretty much got to the point with my brows that that's it. This is as far as they're going to go, but I continue to use the peptide serum to keep them healthy and, you know, just not have any fallout from the growth that I had from the success of this product. What I didn't expect is the growth factors helped boost this product. I didn't expect that to happen. I've had a lot more regrowth in parts that were just done. That's it. That's as far as I'm going to get with the peptide serum. That would be like at the very end of my brow here, and so much growth over here. So that was a bit of a surprise. At 2 weeks, my eyebrows boosted as far as the growth was concerned. I know it's not something that is mentioned with this product, but there's no other explanation for it. I have nothing else to say that made that happen. My skincare has stayed pretty consistent, and that's the only difference is the growth factors. And I'm definitely going to say this boosted my eyebrow growth. I'm not putting anywhere my lashes, so it didn't do anything with my lashes, but my eyebrows made a difference with these two together. So if you think about that, maybe with your hair and your brows and you're trying to get them to grow, you might want to give this a try as well to kind of help that growth happen a little bit more, or at least help this work a little bit better. So now we're at the 4 to 6 week mark, and I started to record my skin really up close at this point because according to the website, it says that you should notice firming and lifting. Firms the face and neck in 4 weeks, and jawline looks more lifted. And I'm really paying attention to that now. I know what to expect for my skin texture. There's been a boost. There's been a boost with the eyebrow growth that was unexpected. But I want to see some changes as far as my jawline. I've mentioned that I've had like the tech neck from looking down at my PC, which is right there, and looking down at my phone, and there was a definite change in my skin right here, and I don't like it. So this is something that I'm really trying to focus on heavily, is getting this to be tighter and healthier and really supporting as far as the collagen growth and health of that area, so my skin isn't, you know, looking crepey, and I don't know what else it would be called, but the jawline itself, I don't know how you can really do much change to it without some major surgery or anything like that, but anything that supports it and makes it a bit more healthy and lifted, like they're saying, I'm all for. So I did just notice a little bit more of tightening, and I noticed that right here within the first week of using the product. And I did notice a little bit more of a change around my mouth and softening this area. This is an area that I'm moving constantly. I'm smiling a lot or laughing. And I do expect it to increasingly over time have these lines become deeper. But there was a noticeable difference in that 4 to 6 week period, and maybe just a little bit under the neck, but nothing majorly significant that I could find happened. Now we're at the 12-week mark, 10 to 12 weeks, and getting into that 3-month area. And this is where I'm really looking even closer. Is anything happening? I'm using this so diligently every single day, and I want to make sure I'm investing my money into something that is actually doing something even more like what I really wanted to have happen, which was the change in this area of my neck and around my mouth. My eyes are, I think it's mostly the same. There's a little bit more of a softening of the lines in between my brows, a little bit healthier. And yeah, I think I do this a lot. I furrow my brow when I'm sleeping because I wake up with a little bit of a line. I did notice that softening a little bit. My forehead, the texture of my skin is pretty much the same. There's not too much difference with the wrinkles. It's a little bit softer, I've noticed, but not anything major. I think the Retin-A would do the most improvement because it will help build collagen and help encourage your skin to produce healthier collagen turnover. I did notice a bit around where I'm smiling, the skin just seems a bit better with the texture, and that's something that is noticeable at this 3-month mark. My neck and jawline area has improved a little bit. I am looking at it up close and at the side where I can't usually see when I'm looking and filming, so I can see how it's a little bit tighter right here. And that's kind of funny. I didn't actually expect much of a major improvement, but there is a bit of an improvement. In the area underneath my neck right here, the skin, when I do this and I tighten it, I can see a difference as far as the texture goes and how it is a little bit more crepey. That has improved a lot. I'm very impressed with those changes at this point, 3 months in. And it does say individual results will vary, so that is a good thing to think of when you're using a product. Everybody has different DNA, skin types, areas of the world, different climates, different effectiveness from sunlight. So it's something to keep in mind when you're using something like this, that her results may be very major within 10 weeks and yours might be more or less. But for me, there has been a similarity to her as far as improvement in that area, in the neck area. So I've been pretty impressed with the product at this point, and I'm pretty excited that I'll be able to start using my Retin-A at some point. I've been putting it off for so long because my skin is so sensitive and it really reacts so strongly to retinols, Retin-A's, tretinoins. I always have trouble saying that, but any vitamin A derivative products, my skin has a terrible reaction to it, and I'm not looking forward to using it. I've been advised to use it for my skin. People like me who have rosacea or highly sensitive skin know that this can often be such a battle to get through. And if you have your skin aging, which, hopefully we do have that opportunity, we do want to incorporate products that kind of boost the skin radiance, and it's always encouraged to go towards the retinols. If you're one of the people that doesn't want to use them, the growth factors is a really great alternative because you won't have that horrible sensitivity issue or that whole thing where you have to break a barrier to get to the point where your skin can tolerate it. This was so tolerable right off the bat, which has been so nice. Instead of always using products where you have a purge or you have a skin peeling or skin irritation period, this has not given me that problem at all. So because of that, I definitely would say and encourage anyone who wants an alternative to retinols, Retin-A's, just go with the growth factors. You'll have gentle improvements, and I think over time it just keeps getting better. Another surprising thing that it helped this part of my skin become more toned, the skin between my lips and my upper lip or lower lip, and I wouldn't have noticed if I wasn't applying a product that this part of my skin where the lip meets your face is just healthier and I want to say tighter because I'm adding a lip liner and you want that area to not feather. I think if you add lip liner or lipstick, you'll know what I mean. There's nothing else I've been using except for the growth factors, so I know that's what's made that possible. This area has become a little bit healthier. So my lip liner is staying better. I didn't really have a big feathering problem, but that's something that just happens over time. It gets weaker and yeah, it's just working really well. I'm not putting this on my scalp per se, but I did have the brow growth. So I'm a little bit curious if there's going to be any change in my hairline since it is going toward that area and touching that area as I'm putting it on my forehead. If I should go even further back, I haven't noticed a difference, I don't think, as far as my hair growth on my hairline. No, I haven't really noticed a difference, but I do use the other Ordinary serum products for hair growth support. And I wonder if they're going to ever go into that, if the growth factors would be a great duo with those products. I might do a little bit more research and maybe even contact them and see, are you doing anything with that? Do you encourage those two together? And the big question is, am I going to be continuing this product? Yes, I think it is an absolutely really great product for someone who wants to improve the look and texture of their skin over time, to tone and really improve this area of your face, and something that is going to support people with sensitive skin and probably people with not sensitive skin. But I think it's a great product for someone like me who really doesn't want to have that extra peeling and redness and all those things happening. I'm looking at the progress that I've had from January until the end of April. It's just such an improvement that it's undeniable for me that it's really a good product that's worth continuing with. And also, when I do start doing the tretinoin at some point, they're going to be working together. I'll figure out how I'm going to manage that and do a review. So if you've tried the growth factors, if you're planning to, please let me know in the comments below what your results are. If you've used it with tretinoin in these past few months, I'd love to hear if you have any opinions on it, any differences in your skin, any improvements. I'd love to hear about that, because I'm going to be going on to that journey myself at some point, and I'd love any advice or information. If you have that experience to share, please do. If you haven't watched my first video when I first tried it way back in January when it was released, the product was released January 7th. I tried it right away and I have some very thorough information on that. Please go and watch it. I'll link that below, and I'll probably link it next so you can immediately click onto it.